In this office?
Yeah.
I've worked for Blacknet for 2 years, like the whole existence of the company, and we've been in this office for like a year and a half.
Oh, okay. Like and like how many people is it now?
So we're 12 here in Paris and 20 in Rennes. Rennes is another city in Brittany.
Oh, okay.
So in French Bretagne.
Oh, okay. And like, how do you split the...
The workload is here. We have a bit of dev, but mostly high-end perspective research.
Oh, okay.
And the actual development for the platform is happening.
So like more direction, concepting.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why they're here. Here we have high research and direction, and we have marketing and strategy and the graphic design, and all teams like that are here.
Cool. Well, the levels sound good. Shall we?
Okay, yeah.
Shall we start? Yeah. Okay. What's your name and what's your game?
I'm Oscar, and I have many games, but my latest gig is all the games in the world on one single platform called Blacknet.
Oh, okay. What do you mean? That sounds like a huge piracy den.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is it's like cloud gaming, right? It's like Netflix, but for games. You pay a subscription every month, and then out of this subscription, we split that according to basically not exactly time played. We have a bit of a special... it's not a secret sauce because it's public, but we have a special split. And then we redistribute money. That's basically the gist of it.
Oh, okay. So
when people click on the catalog, they launch it like Steam, like any app. And then they have a catalog of games, and when they click on the game, it doesn't install or download the game to them. It runs on a server distantly and only streams the video to them. And they stream the controls back.
Oh, okay. So right? Similar to like On Live or...
Exactly like On Live.
That one Sony bought.
Exactly. So there are a bunch of them.
So why not just do minutes? Like,
well, because if you do minutes, then the systemic discourse of your platform is the more time people spend, the more money you will get. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
So, yeah.
I don't think they would know we were in France until that bit.
So, yeah, the gist of it is, what do you reward as a platform? What do you want to see more? Because what you reward is what you want to see more. So if you say people spending more time get more money, then you say, well, I want idle games, I want cookie clickers, I want MMOs, you know.
Yeah, like I even wonder if Netflix. Netflix just wants you on there, so I'm kind of wondering sometimes. Like,
yeah, exactly, and that's why Spotify is moving like super big time into podcasts. Is because like, oh, that's like 1 hour of you staying on there, so yay us, right?
And also you got like the big podcasts. Like I'm a big fan of the Joe Budden podcast, which is one of which it seemed for me was the kind of the first Spotify big podcast that I listened to. And it's made me, because they have some exclusive content on Spotify, it's made me move just that podcast to Spotify. Yeah. So I'm going to listen to it there, even though it's going to still come out. But just, it's kind of a... I want to listen to it where it's like intended to be, but they're getting millions of listens every week.
Yeah, of course.
Which is not no streams. So it's kind of like
exactly.
They could be making probably better money if they're getting paid a music ad rate than the ads they're getting.
Yeah. No, but it's also that for a lot of platforms, like that's their strategy, getting like super exclusive content that will drive people to them, right? Mm-hmm. But then so that's their drive. Their drive is you spend more time. So if we did only that, then in games that are so different in length, like music. Yeah, of course, like some experimental music lasts for like 99 hours, but most of the music...
But even then, I think music is in the predicament it's in because it's not like video games kind of adopted a fire sale approach, which maybe is it all long-term good, long-term bad, it's hard to say, but everybody I know has bought a game they have not played.
Yeah.
Nobody I know has bought any music they have not listened to. And I think it's kind of silly that all the consistency in prices album lengths, how many people work on it, like is this
Yeah.
a big thing, is it an indie thing, like the value proposition's kind of taken away from music.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been a weird,
It's
been weird moving into streaming.
Absolutely.
Because music, like especially I listen to hip hop and rap,
Yeah.
and they are engineering albums now
Absolutely, yeah.
to just get repeat streams, or they're splitting songs into 2 songs.
Yeah.
So they get 2 individual streams. It's a weird.
Yeah, it's a weird space, and it's transforming the media.
Yeah.
Of course, right? Like that's what you're saying. Like, so people get that that's the new model, and so you have to shift away from. And if the algorithm changes again, then the music will change again. Like people who do the music will change again, and that's the same thing for us. Like for games, we were, when we designed the revenue model, we were very careful to try to. I was very careful because I designed it. I was very careful to be very to be very mindful of where is that taking us. Like what am I incentivizing people to do? Mm-hmm. And so what we do is, instead of pulling everything together and then splitting, which would say basically cookie clicker gets all the money.
Yeah.
What we do is we split per user. So for this week or for this month, if you only played one game, then all the money from your subscription goes to that game. And it does not go together in the pot with everything, meaning that you giving us $15 this month, then even if you only played one game and that's the people you love who made that game, and you would like your money to go to them, well then it's still gonna go to Justin Bieber and to Rihanna, because they are the big ones, right? On Spotify, that's how it works.
Yeah.
And so our model is split per user, meaning if you only play indie games, then your money goes to only indie games.
Interesting. So let's say there's a game I'm playing daily for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then a game I'm playing for like an hour every day.
Yeah.
Is that just like going to be or does the time come in after?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. It comes into, like, once you split per user, then you go in and you go, then we split per percentage of the time you spent on the service, which I think makes sense, because when you play like a huge 100-hour, like you play Skyrim, then you would say, yeah, I've played a bunch of other little games that I've tried, but like big money goes to Skyrim because that's where my enjoyment has been. Mm-hmm. But if you were to say, my groove is like itch.io, super small games that last like half an hour, and then I've played 2 or 3 of them this month, and that's enough for me, then I wouldn't want to say, like this short time doesn't mean a thing, because you might have been as, touched or moved as people who played 100 hours of Skyrim.
Have you explored users? Because one thing I always find really weird about Humble is when you buy the bundle, the like choosing developers, charity, and what their publisher fee is.
Yeah.
Which I think is a cool idea, and I just wonder who doesn't. Like, if they do go open that menu, if they don't go, like, all charity or all developers or, like, how much do they give to the publisher? Because it always seems...
They have, I think they have in those stats probably an insight into the human soul that nobody else has.
Like, most people probably don't open it. They go, like, I want to get all the games. I'll pay that amount. And then...
exactly. But I think of the people that open it, I think my instinct would be most people will push it all the way to charity and give like a bit to the tip, like to the Humble tip for a Humble bundle. But I wouldn't know. But that's a very good question to ask him, I guess.
So do, like, if I play a game for 30 minutes and then cry, is there any way I can be like, no, give this game more of my money?
So we haven't explored that yet. There was we had a system in which when you after playing a game, when you add it to favorites, then we would reward that more, because that's like an afterthought input. But then we realized that if you add something that's on the user end, then what you will get is games that will go, oh, please like and subscribe this game, you know, and you don't want that. Like you want to get away.
I don't want that on YouTube.
Exactly.
I wish there was a way I could cut out every time somebody said hammer on that like button, because it must work.
Yeah. Well,
and people do it in podcasts. I don't.
Yeah.
But it must improve subscription rate to be like, please subscribe to the podcast, write us a review.
I guess it must.
It must work.
Yeah, and
it's like gym selfies. They must work.
Absolutely. To some extent, I also think that that's the reason, like, when people are exposed to it, it works. Still, it's like, it irks a lot of people, and so a lot of people try to avoid them. And so you have this interplay between the YouTuber who's trying to hide it in the middle of the video. Because if they put it at the end, they know that people will just click away and never watch the end when they ask it. So they have to force you...
The stalling drives me nuts.
Exactly. So they have to kind of force you to be exposed to it. Otherwise, you wouldn't get the message and you wouldn't think of clicking the like button and so on. But I have, like... I will 100% agree that I am... guilty of that. Like, if I'm not reminded to like the video, I never like anything. And then when people say, oh, if you enjoy that small content and I don't have a lot of views, please like the video so it gets more visibility, I'm more prone to doing it than otherwise. I never like the video. I don't give a fuck about blue thumbs or red thumbs. I like that.
Well, also the other weird thing was initially, I don't know if it's still the case, but dislikes were as valuable as likes.
Yeah.
So encourage people to make content that was like controversial or would like piss people off, and
a lot of engagement, be it negative or positive. Like bad buzz is still buzz. Is the
so what?
So no user input, because if you add user input, then you add the necessity for games to do better by asking or by nagging people to like engage with the game, like add to favorites, give a like to the game or something like that. So on our platforms, we removed all that.
Interesting. So there's no reviews.
No reviews at all.
Interesting. That is a good point. Maybe Steam developers should put, please review our game on Steam and give it a thumbs up.
People have it already. And you know that in iOS and Android, people do it all the time.
Oh, God. There's nothing that I want to do less than when somebody says, hey, how much are you liking this? And I hit a star, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, then go out of the app.
Yeah.
Like, I'm using it. I like it.
Yeah. On iOS now, every other game that I played has like, oh, did you like the game? Like, please rate it. And at last, after years and years of that, they've added like a thing in game. But before it was like, click there to get 200 points and rate the game or something like that.
Have you ever written a review for a video game?
Oh yeah, I do it all the time. My job is a curator, right? I curate games, so I played upwards of 100 games every week.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people in games, so I write a lot of reviews because I know that they're helpful. I share a lot of games I own over
like on the storefront.
Yeah, on storefronts.
Oh, interesting. So if somebody found your like Steam profile, they could go read all your reviews.
Yeah, I guess I have a few Steam profiles to avoid getting it all in one place. It's also because when you work for a few companies, one after the other, every time... Well, you can step on it. Every time you work for a new company, you have to open a new Steam account and then buy new games and so on. So I can juggle in between accounts.
Yeah, I use my personal Steam account for dev stuff just so I test the actual like consumer...
experience of it.
Just because sometimes when you're setting up a Steam Depot, you mess it up.
Oh no, of course. When you play your own game, of course.
So it's like I like that I'm not a dev, so I don't automatically own all the DLC, so I can catch the like, oh, if you're missing the DLC, it's gonna cause an error or something like that.
Well, 2 years ago, I was working for a company called Getilrik. It's kind of a museum really next to here, and we had a video game space, like a whole floor, like a part of a floor dedicated to video games, with a lot of workshops for older people, for kids to learn to analyze and think about video games and so on. So for them, I bought like a huge bunch of games, right? Like every single game that you could think of that era, like Limbo and then Journey and etc. So you buy all the games on their account, of course, and when you leave, well, they get the accounts and they keep all the games because that's a company, and then you go to another company, then you reopen them. So I have bought, I think Braid or Limbo, I probably have bought them like 10 times, over 10 times probably, you know, and then they come out on the phone and stuff. And I make it, but like, even when I give the games exposure with a lot of air quotes on exposure, it's not enough for me, so I always at least email the people who made the game, tell them like, oh, I'm going to display the game or I'm using it for that purpose. And also I make it a point to buy every game at full price.
Oh.
And so there is no time where I avoid Steam more than during the sales, because I know that I already have over 1,000 games on Steam, so I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go there when.
That's interesting. Yeah, they don't give you the option.
Yeah, but Steam
that'd be an interesting. Give an option of like.
Yeah,
you can buy it at full price.
Yeah, ignore the discount. Yeah, that would be an interesting option for sure. The other thing is Steam is so fucking bad at curation. Man, I go on a sales page, and it's like an array of. It happened to me literally. An array of 5x5 games, like 5 rows, 5 columns, all already in my library.
Oh, wow.
And Steam thinks that that's the good thing to put on my front page. It's like, why?
Yeah.
I'm here to discover new things.
I mean, I think it's because they only feature a certain amount for the sale.
Yeah, but I think
so.
Yeah, you could probably filter some out.
Yeah, that is a good point. You probably have like you might get featured or like a second tier feature.
Yeah,
that people own will fill it up.
Well, on some sales pages, there are like 6 pages of sales. Like there's a dedicated page. I think it was last winter sale. They had like 6 pages of games, and on every page there was a bunch of them that I already had in my library, and I wanted to had the option to just hide them.
Yeah, that's a problem I find with all the internet, where like I bought this game somewhere else, or I bought the dishwasher.
Yeah.
Like I bought the blender at the store.
Yeah.
So you don't need to show me blenders anymore, Amazon. Really, for 5 years probably.
Yeah.
You do not need to show me the blender I just bought.
Yeah.
But they don't care. Like they don't really want me to be like, oh, I've already bought this on PS4.
Yeah.
Like I love the game, love it a lot.
Yeah.
Like, please show me more games like this. But I've already owned it.
Yeah, for the dishwasher, I think it's also. It is very useful for Google to say, oh, you've been looking for a dishwasher. Like you search for a dishwasher, and I'm Google, so I know that you went through the process of buying it on one specific site because I have like cookies and I'm following you along on your process to sell you more ads. But so I know that you've bought it, but you're still a good target. Like you have shown interest in dishwashers. So for people that I advertise for, like I'm gonna still push dishwashers to you, because for me, you staying in the relevant for dishwasher advertising part of my market share is interesting. They sell that for like way.
So do you use any like Steam curators, or do you use the discovery queue at all?
No, not at all. Sadly, I can't really anymore. The discovery queue is really now filled with shit for me, because
you need to hammer that no button.
Yeah. It's that. It's also that it's very slow. Steam is super slow, so when you have to scroll through, like, my morning routine on Friday is discovery. My afternoon routine on Friday is part of the week of playing games. Only playing games on Friday afternoon. But the morning is discovery, and I want to scroll through pages of games. I don't want to wait for a page to load and then click no and then wait. It's really like tedious. So
yeah, it's like I prefer doing email on the computer because I have hotkeys.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't look on my phone.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's the same for Steam. I look at pages or at lists of what's released, like trying to get all lists of everything that comes out, rather than believe Steam to show me the best, because I've had really countless experiences of, oh, this game came out. What? It's on Steam, but it's not in the feature, and it's beautiful and it's interesting, and it's like, but nobody's showing it to me. and I know that it is on Steam. Like you can look for it and get it, and I know that it came out today, but it's not going to be featured anywhere. So I have had this experience too many times to like trust Steam to do its job.
At this point, I'd like to plug the Question Bus curator page. If you want to see a game that was by somebody that was on the Question Bus, the Steam has a curator page for the Question Bus. But plug over. How do you find out what games came out?
Well, there are some sites on the internet that list everything that comes out. So that's what I scroll through. A bit of press here and there. There is a special site in France called Oulipo. Have you heard about the Oulipo?
No.
Oulipo is ou is ouvroir, li is literature, et po is potentiel. So it's like it was a collective of surrealist artists that made a group of like trying to create and curate everything that literature, the weirdest that literature could produce.
The weirdest
shit, like a whole novel, like a small book written without the letter E.
That is pretty weird.
That's, you know,
it's a popular vowel.
Yeah,
arguably top 3
in France. Probably the first, like most used by far. So yeah, and so one guy said, "Oh, I like that spirit. I'm gonna do that for games." And so he curates games on his site, and it's wonderful. It's called Ougevipo, Ougevipo, and it is.
Are accents on URLs?
No. They turn into like percent something.
Oh, okay.
Turn into shit. Yeah. So no accents on URL.
Right.
So that's one of the many super small and very specialized sites that I follow.
And what platforms are they kind of mostly?
Oh, the games that I curate, it depends. It depends. Like for instance, when I'm a judge in an international competition, you'd say if I'm a judge for Indicade, they have direct download links. So I have to play 100 games over the course of a week. And then they all have direct downloads. Some rare numbers have Steam keys already, but that's not really current.
Because man, that Steam pipeline's good.
Yeah.
Like, especially as a programmer.
Yeah.
Nobody's got a better pipeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can. I mean, they make billions.
Yeah, I think other people could too. It's just like we. It's also like as there's more and more storefronts, it then becomes like...
It becomes really important.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why, if you want to get your game on Blacknut, one of the things that we set out to do in the beginning was to take everything in hand. So you send us a build, and we do everything. We do building the page, we do integration, we do APKs, we do everything that's needed for the integration is done by the team on our side.
And what about patches?
Well, patches you send them to us, and then we apply them. So that's the same. You don't have access to your build afterwards. Like you could, I mean, if you wanted to remove it or something, or say like that's possible, but we handle all the things, including like writing about the games and selecting the screenshots and taking screenshots when needed and so on.
Oh, so handling the marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. That's a nice thing.
Oh, to be fairly transparent, getting on a new platform is always a fucking hassle. So for everyone's sake, I think when you're a small company, you better be prepared to do the effort to help people get along with your idea.
And how are you going to curate it? Like
it's already curated. The platform is live and it exists, and there are people playing on it.
But like what? Like what's the curation? Like
what's the curation
process?
modo?
Yeah, like do people send you their games and you kind of?
That happens a lot. I play upwards of 10 games that are sent to us every week. Not everybody gets in, but there's a fair number of people coming in. My idea is I have to write a newsletter every week about games, and so I have to keep the number of games that come out every week short enough that I can write about them.
So you write about every game that comes out that week?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely.
And that's sent to your email box?
What?
That's like sent to your email.
So every week you get an email to tell you like, oh, these are all the games that got on Blacknet this week, right? So that's between 2-3 this summer because it was like really empty space, to 6 or 7, but not really more. So that's going to be a hard line for us. It's not going to be like a plethora of hundreds of thousands of games.
Yeah.
It's going to be like super limited in number.
Because I also imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, that doing that extra work of doing the newsletter and kind of showing what games are coming out, probably people will check them out and kind of boost their first week sales or first month. I don't know if you pay monthly or quarterly or whatever. Then they're like, oh, I don't know, this streaming, I don't know. Let's try it. Let's play a game. Yeah. Oh wow, like we actually got a lot of attachment, and a lot of people played it. Like, is that part of it? Like to kind of as a like client building relation?
Absolutely. Yeah. The idea is that since we don't sell games, we only host them, and then we want people to play them. We only take games that we believe in, and then when we push them to people, when we send a newsletter and so on, it's always like, this game, we fell in love with it. Like, I deeply cared about it. And then this game was really fun. And then this game was interesting because of that. Mm-hmm. But I don't have to be like, emphasis on everything, where like nothing is legible anymore. Like, we tell people why we loved every single game and why they're on the platform. Mm-hmm. That's our motto. But the model doesn't have to be, oh, look, like on every Steam page, like, this is the best game ever.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that.
Look at how many awards it won.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care about awards. Like, being on the platform means that we care about that game enough to put it in front of our audience. So that's not award enough, because that's not an award. That's like, for us, it's an honor to have the game and to share it. But we don't need to boast about everything.
And I also think it's kind of like, I think it's lesser known how much influence a curator or press or somebody talking about your game can help you then market it better. Because you heard what somebody said, that and you're like, oh, well, that's the pitch.
Yeah.
That's the pitch for the next convention.
Yeah.
Or that, I'm going to put that as a quote here, and stuff like that. What's the curation team?
So it's 5 people. I'm the lead on that. I'm the grand curator. Is what
that's your official title?
That's my official title on my business card.
Grand curator.
Absolutely. I don't think I have it. Yeah, I have it.
Was that like easy? Like, everybody got to pick their title, or?
No. I'm one of the directors of the company. I'm not the owner, but I'm one of the curators. Yeah. Grand curator. Here you go.
Are the colors deliberate?
Yeah.
What do the colors represent? We got a green, a red, a calm navy blue, maybe purple? Indigo?
No, it's a navy blue.
Navy blue, a nice, strong pink.
Yeah.
And the idea was to get a golden R or a golden yellow. So like.
So the idea is to show the range and richness of the catalog. So the different moods and so on. We studied what the moods. We did a job on the colors at the same time that I was doing a job on the categories of the game. So the categories of the games we rewrote them, because like, for us gamers, it means something that something is like a game is an FPS or an MMORPG.
Yeah.
But for my grandma, like, you might as well be talking Chinese or anything. Like,
yeah, or even then, like, an RPG could mean many different things.
Exactly.
And people talk about what is an RPG and what's not an RPG.
Yeah, exactly. So I spent, I think, 4 months rewriting categories and changing the usual ways.
And there's not a lot.
Games.
There's probably 5, right?
No, there's a bit more right now. There is.
That'd have been good for the colors.
Yeah. So there were 10. We shortened it to 8, and then they each had their color.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So why only 5 on the business card?
Oh, but that's because when we did the 5 colors on the business card, everyone got to pick the sequence of the colors.
Oh.
And
you picked the best one apparently, because it's the same. It's the same as the advertising.
Yeah. So because one like the goal of Black Nut, there are many curations and there are many ways to do curation. The goal of Black Nut is to bring games to everyone else that does not yet play games. So we, of course, like gamers will get along, but it's the same as, vinyls. Like people
they degrade over time.
Yeah, exactly, and it's the same. But it's like physical copies of things, including games, are good for people who love the object, but for people who like for the most of the population who's interested in like the content of it and not really the support, the physical copy of it. For most of it, people don't really need the actual physical thing.
Also, nowadays, most people buying physical are probably already bought it.
Yeah,
I assume or they've been waiting, or they played it on a different platform or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'd be very surprised if any of the physical Darkest Dungeon owners it was their first version.
No, I don't think so either. The idea
except I guess the Japanese, because Japan.
Yeah.
We just released that recently, and Japan's still into it.
Yeah. So you went from vinyl to MP3 basically, and when MP3 came along, all the music nerds, so what we would call the gamers for games, said, "Oh no, like streaming or like having music on your computer, that's never gonna work."
Yeah, I still
don't. The quality is so poor and it's so bad and so on. And streaming for games is the same, right? Like people are gonna say, it's not up to our standards. It's not 4K. It's not 60 FPS and so on. And so for games, our goal is to say we can't really serve the gamer audience right now. They have their like huge rigs, their $2,000 rigs, and they love it, and that's good. We're gonna serve the rest of the world, like people who just want to they want games. They care about the content. They may be more open to change and maybe more open to the broad definition of games that we serve or that we believe in. And
also, you get access to the whole catalog.
Absolutely.
So you're blowing the pay us per month and we'll give you 5 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Like out of the water on the first month, because you have access to every game. You can go check it out.
That's the idea, really, to be very and it's the same thing for time, right? It's like if it's a new game or an old game, nobody gives a fuck anymore, because like there are no sales, there are no degrading the value over time. It's not like, oh, that game is like 2 years old now, like nobody.
It's arguably worth more.
Yeah, exactly. And so now it's the same for Spotify or anything, or Netflix. It's like when you watch a show, you don't really care when it was made. When you listen to music on Spotify, it could be...
Well, as somebody who listened to all of the good music, so that whole like every week Kanye produced an album for 5 weeks. It was I've never seen such a shit show for release times. It's out, people are talking, it's out on Google Play but nowhere else, and then like 6 hours would pass. Like I actually bought 2 of the albums because they weren't out. They were out on iTunes before they were out on Spotify and stuff like that. But it's music, so people aren't. Like I was like, if this was a game, people would be very angry.
Yep. People in the gaming.
And also, I imagine with the curation, like somebody brings you, let's say Nidhogg.
Yeah.
Something that maybe is too twitchy to play local multiplayer. I don't know, right?
Yeah, no,
like the game that I would look at and go like, oh, maybe this won't work, and you're only going to release like 10 games a week or 7.
Exactly.
So
and the idea is that we also have like a part of the catalog which is called the Black Nut Lab, who has all the weird games. So Messhoff, who did Nidhogg, has done Nidhogg. That's pretty mainstream by our standard, right?
Yeah.
Especially the second one, right?
Oh God, the second one's so good.
Yeah, but then in the lab, I'm dreaming of getting from the creator of Nidhogg a game he made who's called Randy Balma Municipal Abortionist. which is like
so it's an edgy. Blacknut's an edgy platform.
We also have edgy games, right? And
is there a like toggle?
Yeah, absolutely. It's called the Blacknut Lab, and then you open it or close it, and then you get access to like a broader definition of games. And we also have like, parental control and so on. But the broader definition of games is like, oh, look at all these like super, super weird and experimental things.
Yeah.
We have some games that feature homosexuality in the main catalog, and that's absolutely normal for us. But all of the queer games about like transitioning and so on, they're in the Blacknut Lab because we think that they are part of a broader definition of games, right? For a lot of them, it feels that, they're like a walking simulator or something like that. And we want people to explore them, and we want people to find out about them, and so we tell them in the like tutorial that you go on at the beginning of the platform. But we do not we don't push them on the front page.
Is there a way that I can opt into that? Because I could see somebody as developing a game that would be in that category going like, well, I want my game out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like sending me a mail. It's oscar@blacknut.com, and then you send me a mail about like my game is super fucking weird, and I talk about this very subject that is dear to my heart, and I'd like to be on your platform because I think you have like an interesting creation, or my game is on HEO. It's done it's made 6 downloads. I would like it to be somewhere else so more people see it, and that's an argument that I've heard. Like, literally, the amazing thing to me is, it used to be that people would say, oh, like if you get on Steam and you don't do a lot of marketing, you'll get 0 sales, and by 0 we meant like 200. And now people who go on Steam and do a bit of marketing and get a bit of press attention and a few articles. Some of them, like there was a game last week that did that, and they had in the first week 0 sales. Like not a single person bought it. They had a few downloads from people like press and so on that is sent to key to. So for me, what Blacknut is doing and what I'm doing is what radio does for music. Because we're all about like, oh, it's the indie apocalypse. It's like a shit show, and there are too many games coming out. Yeah. How many pieces of music? How many books come out every day?
Yeah. Also maybe games. Spend that energy shouting out games that you think people should buy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's also weird when it's a publisher doing that talk.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, but I published this game and it did okay.
Yeah. No, but like the indie apocalypse is super weird to me. It's like, yes. This is not an abnormal thing, the indie apocalypse. It's like games were super unique in the 90s because there were so few of them that a company like a small, magazine or a website could play most of everything that comes out. And then you come out in the 2010s and you're like, nobody can play everything. But that's normal. Like that's what happens to every other media. There are like 300 hours of music video uploaded every minute to YouTube. Nobody can watch that. You need curators. You need people in between, and you can't just have like the huge megastore that is Steam and hope that everybody explores the depth of it. That's not gonna happen.
And especially because it's grown too far. Yeah, whereas even like Spotify. I imagine all the streaming platforms are like this. Like, I'm able to scroll through the new releases.
Yeah.
I rarely click on something I don't know, but I'm able to look every week. I go, what's out? And if it's somebody I recognize, I check it out.
Yeah, that's because Spotify does that work already of curation.
No, but even when I go to new... Oh, really? So when I go to new releases, I'm not seeing everything?
Oh, no. You're seeing everything that Spotify has added.
Yeah.
But you're not seeing everything every music that come out in the whole world.
Yeah. And
like you're not seeing like that Pakistani rapper that had an album coming out because you don't see any Pakistani music. You don't see most of the African music that comes out every day. You don't see, the curation has already been done for you. And that's what Steam is refusing to do. That's probably my analysis. It's probably going to be the end of them because it's going to be like so much things on there that only the big AAAs will come out.
Yeah. And also, I think they do really believe that the users can do it.
Yeah, which I
think it's like it's a bit. I I think in today's age, a lot of people don't trust the users.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if it's...
I like the idea of curators. I like the idea of following people.
Yeah.
And them, like, if I could follow the equivalent of your guys' curation on Steam. Though I feel like I already have curation by being in the industry.
Yeah.
That absolutely. In the random Slack chat, somebody's going to bring up a game. I follow some game. Like, I fulfilled my hear about new games.
Yeah, but see, that was my belief for a long time. But I am here telling you that my job as a curator is discovering games, and I come across new games every single fucking day.
I bet I could do that too. Yeah, like I bet like there's a bunch of games.
Yeah, there are hundreds of games that you've had. Like one of the company slogan is right now so much to play, but the unofficial slogan is your next favorite game is on Blacknut, because there is a game that would be your favorite if only you could see it. Like there are so many games that you would love only if you could find out about them, and I like that happens to me all the time. It's like, oh my god, I couldn't believe this game. Did it just come out? And then you look at the publish date, and that happened to me the other day on itch.io, and I was like, 2014. Like what? This game has been out for years and nobody has seen it, and I.
And so did you then reach out to them?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do a lot of that. Sending blind mails to people like, "Oh, I love your games. Please come on Blacknut." And I get a lot of, "Oh, fuck you. You're a big company. You don't like games or anything." It's just, I get a lot of negativity. It's super hard.
Weird. What? So the negativity is you're not indie enough?
Yeah, either you're not indie enough or you're kind of here to steal my game, which is weird because for me, one of the hardest decisions of my life is when I made games with my studio, which is called Them Games. I'm a game designer by trade.
Yeah.
And then when we made games, one of the hardest discussions that we had was what's the price of it?
Yeah.
Like what's the right price for our game? And now I'm like, I work on the platform, which is my dream, because I can take free games and put them besides games that are like €60 or $60.
Yeah.
And both of them are worth the same because if people like spend time on them.
Yeah.
So I add free games to my catalog, like indie, weird, super niche shit that nobody would see otherwise. And I'm like, people have had pleasure on your game. Like you have given people like pleasurable experiences. I'm giving you money. Like you are owed money for that.
Yeah.
And you're owed money just like, I know you don't want to make money out of it, but I am still giving out money. I'm still entering people who do free games in the same contracts as everybody else.
So everybody's on the same...
No, not everybody's on the same because big companies would not go on the same contract.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a standard contract and then numbers may vary.
Yeah, which is...
But for me, there is like a standard split, and I'm like super transparent about it. Every single person that wants to put their game on Blacknut.
And those show up in the newsletters too. So you're like, you're like Battlefield. Like,
absolutely,
this game sounds amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be like, Battlefield comes out, and then Dysphoria is out, and then like. For me, there is really there should not be a limit in between those. Like it really is a continuum of interesting experiences.
Is there anything on there that's only on there?
Not yet, no.
Is that something you're looking to explore?
Yeah, absolutely. But you need like upfront cash to do that.
And I think that's super, like, there's something about the Humble Monthly that I think super cool that they go pay reasonable amounts of money for indie developers to make something small. Yeah,
small and
for a couple months and or for however long it takes. So they might already have it in the ready to go or something. I think that's a really cool part of it.
Yeah, me too. The Humble Monthly gives off some of your subscription to indie game makers to make weird shit.
And not even, and sometimes it's not even weird. Sometimes it's like a board game.
Yeah.
Or like something like that, and it's like, oh, this is.
What was the name of the game? I think Wilmot's Warehouse was a really cool game that was made through that.
Oh, okay. And sometimes it's like a trial. Or not trial, but like it's like a custom kind of intro, like mixtape level.
Yeah.
That is going to be part of the Hubble Monthly, and then their actual games are going to come out later. So it's like kind of a little, kind of mini early access.
Vertical slice in a sense.
Yeah. Have you thought about guest curation at all?
Absolutely, 100%. I would love to get guest curators, probably guest homepages too. Because guest curators, because part of the game of the curation game is you have to add games and do like month of work to talk with people and convince them that you're not evil and that you want the best, and then you're trying to push their game to a new audience that wouldn't hear about it otherwise. Because like, what's my mother gonna do? She like, if I tell her, that happened to me. I told her I made a game, it's available on Steam. She lost an hour of her life trying to install Steam on her iPad. And how would she know that that's not possible?
I just told, like, my dad's pretty tech savvy, but I just told Mom about Twitch.
Yeah.
I was just like, you go watch a bunch of Reddit, find somebody like...
Yeah. Well, Steam is like create an account and then put in your credit card and then like download a thing on your computer and then get lost in the interface forever. Like, how do you navigate through that? And then you install the game, and then you have to understand what is the minimum configuration that not every game is playable on every machine.
Yeah.
Not everybody understands that. That's why Blacknut is like one of the reasons that we use streaming is not because it's hype or anything. It's like the technology is maturing and we're getting to a place that we're really comfortable with and a lot of people are playing, but we took on this challenge to make things accessible, not because it was like, otherwise we would have done download, right? Not because it was easy, but because it was the thing that made sense for the audience that we had. And that means that when you play Blacknet, you can stream the video on your TV or on your computer or PC, Mac and Linux. Even if you give me a Windows build, since I only stream video, I can stream it to a tablet. I can stream it to a Mac or to a Linux computer, and I don't have to care about platforms. I can stream it to like a TV or like a set-top box or a Chromecast or anything. Basically, that's the whole idea behind it. And so that's part of the game, is making it super accessible. But sourcing the games for that audience is a long process. So for guest curators, I would not do sourcing. I think the decision that we reached was making them do homepage curation, like pushing games forward,
like games that are already out, kind of a second
that
wind.
are already in our catalog. And it's like, what's your identity? What's your favorite game of this sports person or this?
Or what? And kind of giving them the page freedom, they could do like a chronological thing. They could do a world map thing.
We do also. Push forward a lot the fact that games come from many countries. Like a lot of people were like, oh, this game's cool. It comes from what? Cameroon? What? It comes from Denmark? What?
I am very prideful of games out of Vancouver. But I imagine, like, I don't know all the French games. And I can imagine some French game player being like, oh, like games from your country with like...
absolutely. It's really funny because it's it happens to me too. It's like, oh, like this game was really cool. Where was it made? In France? What? In Paris? What? In like a building 2 blocks from fucking here.
It's
like,
so
there
crazy
are guys
people
doing games.
don't go to meetups and...
Like, no, but I go to a lot of meetups. But some people don't. They
miss the...
So it's like no, but their game comes out after 3 years of working on it, and then I'm like, where are they based? And like I go to their site and I can't find it. I'm like, they have a French sounding name, so I send them a mail, and it's like, we live like in that area. Like, what?
There's also a lot of people I know are like moving and then almost done.
And
it's like always weird, like Yeah.
So for us, since games are like cultural objects, it makes sense to say, well, the thing that those people ate when they were kids is kind of, it's what's driving them to put their culture and where they come from into their game, right? So the food, the place, the language, and so on, everything that made you will kind of make its way into your game, and so it makes sense for us to pinpoint that on a map and tell people, yeah, look, there are games made in the Middle East, there are games made in countries you would not think of. In Africa, in South America, there are like really vibrant scenes, and we believe that, like, for us, it's not like, oh, this game is special because it comes from Africa. It's like, oh, this game is special, but also, did you know that it was made in a country that you would not think of?
And I also imagine there's probably a bit of the games on the platform. They'll probably shout you out, like kind of like across, like you'd want to spread out your kind of user base worldwide, and that's a way of doing it.
Yeah, that too. That's true too. But it's also like a tool for us to know more about like what countries make a lot of games and so on, and what countries should we source in, because they have a lot of game makers. What countries should we source in? Should we source in because either they don't have a lot of game makers, or we've been sloppy and we have not done a good job of finding them out.
Mm-hmm.
Like that happened for us for the whole north of Africa, like Morocco and Algeria, and I was like, we don't have any game that comes from there. Like, there must be people doing games there, and they have a tech scene and so on. So they must be doing games, and we don't find them because we don't use Arabic language, and so when you type in Google, you can't find these games, right? So like that process is also a hard thing to it's hard thread to walk, because like you want to make them also accessible for your existing audience. So if they're always all in Arabic and not translated, you're like, well, I'm gonna pay for translation to make them more accessible, but that's a cost for me, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of sort of those costs kind of like kind of a loan like thing where it gets paid off in your fees, or?
For now, not really. For now, we have had some kind of things like that, like it's taken out of your revenue and then it'll get reimbursed. But we've also done like free translations for small games, like. I speak English well enough. It takes me like 3 hours to translate it to French. If you have like game menu and shit and like start game and like a few dialogues in there and your game is worth it. Like translating Proteus is okay.
Definitely. Because localization.
Yeah, it can be a nightmare if you're text heavy. That's one of the things that happened with a game that's. Gorgeous game called Atenta 1942.
It sounds very French.
It's not French, actually. Okay. It's done in the Czech Republic, if memory serves.
Oh, okay.
And so, it's in the Second World War and so on. And the game contains more text than I think the first tome, like the first book of the Lord of the Rings. So it's like translating it is not going to be an easy task. So it's not the thing that I'm going to do it in my free time.
And you want to have every game in English at least, or?
Not really. I want to be super transparent about the games that are or are not in some languages, because I want people to be informed.
Yeah.
But I also don't want it to be a barrier for a lot of people that are in France that don't speak a lot of English. I want to have, and we don't have that yet, but it's in the works. It's trying to have some kind of an accessibility meter for like how much of a barrier language is.
Or just in general.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's only in Chinese, but you only click. You only need to click like new game. So
or even a guide. Like I know there's some people that played through like Japanese games, and they would like get the guide to like okay, how do I navigate this menu? Okay, cool, let's go fight some more people.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I would like to do, but that's a whole other chapter of the adventure.
So if I have a game I want to get on Blacknut, what do I do?
You send me a mail, oscar@blacknut.com, OSCAR, and you tell me like, oh, this game is cool, and here is how to play it. Because that's an important point. I do not put any game on Blacknut that I have not played.
What do you think's a good subject?
Anything. There are no games.
You're reading all your emails.
Yeah. There are no mail propositions for games that get past me. If you want to put in games in between brackets, that's okay. But really, I play every game. I tend to, for my standard, spend a bit too much time giving feedback. Let too much time spend in between. I get the mail, I get to play the game, and then I give feedback afterwards.
So don't expect to be on the platform next week.
Oh, that happens. My friend, that happened after Gamescom in Cologne. There are 3 games that got on the platform 2 days or 3 days after Gamescom. It was hilarious. It was really the guys were oh, so it's gonna be a long process and so on. And no, I send you the contract and then you sign it, and then I send it to integration team, and then we write the blurb about your game and select the screenshot. If you already have a press kit, then we only have to translate in French, and that's done. And the guys were yeah, okay, and they were expecting 2 months.
Yeah.
It's gonna be super short, meaning 2 months, and it's gonna be super short, meaning 3 days.
Yeah. Well, you gotta write that newsletter.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to write that newsletter.
So do you have a queue of games?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
I have a...
No, coming out, in the newsletter. You're only going to release 7 a week.
Yeah. So I don't really have that for now because I have been super peculiar about the games that we pick. I have a few games that we are having a bit of a harder time integrating on the platform. Technically, meaning there are resolutions lacking in the menus or things like that, or key configurations that are a bit harder for us to set up. Some games that we don't really know why don't really launch really well, or that lag on our server for some reason. So we have a bunch of these. I think 20 or so hard to integrate games. Sometimes it's because people send me the build, but it's not working, so I send them a mail, and then we wait 6 months for a response. That happens. But most of the games that we get, we have over 200 games that are just running smoothly. I told you, there are 3 games that took 3 days to integrate.
Yeah.
So it's for most people, it's really painless. And then we have a few games that are coming in the next few months. Some because they are in legal, it's the contract is getting signed and it's getting lost in a big publisher's thing offices. Some of them we're waiting for feedback on the indie dev part, which is it really depends. But no, for now I don't have a really big wait queue, and that's fine by me.
And what's a game that's coming out that
everybody's heard of?
No, just any game, and what would be your blurb, or what would be your kind of short why this game's cool? The
game that are coming out, or just came out?
Yeah, no, it's coming out in the future.
On the platform, on Blacknut, or any game? No,
on Blacknut.
On Blacknut.
Yeah, trying to get an early exclusive of the mailing list. Of course, if it doesn't come out, that's fine. The release date moved the next day.
No. The big bunch of games that we're gonna add right now is the Hitman Go and Lara Croft Go.
Oh,
they're really good.
Yeah, they are
good. And I feel for those games because those games should have sold through the roof, but people on mobile are not used to paying. And so I think these games really need to reach a mainstream audience, but the mainstream audience is really used to not paying for games.
It's also it's weird. It's a weird IP.
Yeah, where the IP mix is really weird, but I love it.
Yeah, I love that it's a puzzle tactical game, but it's kind of like Hitman and Tomb Raider are not Like, they're not Halo.
Yeah.
But
they're
not Mario,
yeah.
but they're like...
I think
you'd have to have, like, had a PlayStation.
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah.
To really know...
anything about those games.
And then do... Yeah.
I think Lara Croft came through a bit more.
Yeah, you got the movies.
The movies, and she was one of the first female heroes in games.
Yeah.
So... I'm saying
it's interesting that
one of the
first
first
go and not Tomb Raider go.
Yeah. I don't know why though, but yeah. So yeah, both of those games are coming out, and I feel I'm really happy about, like, the newsletter is really trying to convince people to play these games.
And those are games that are already on mobile.
Yeah.
So they make total sense on the tablet.
Yeah, absolutely. They make sense on the tablet, but they could be played with a mouse, or they can be played with a controller. I think they're gamepad compatible, if memory serves. And we also have a thing that's funny, which is, like, if you have a TV but you don't have a remote, like you have a remote control, but you don't have a game controller, then we're implementing a game controller on your phone.
Yeah.
Which is a funny thing.
That's cool. And then the phone streams it to the TV?
Yeah, exactly. No. The phone streams it directly to BlackNet, to the servers, and then BlackNet streams the video to your TV. So you don't have to sync your phone to your TV. They don't have to be compatible at all.
Oh, so I download
the app on the TV and the app on the phone, and they don't have to talk, because otherwise we would be, like, lost in endless miles of protocols, of Bluetooth pairing your phone with your TV and so on, and then you have the lag of the Bluetooth plus the lag of the TV and so on. No. It's like your phone goes through Wi-Fi to the server, and your TVs get through Wi-Fi to the server, and so both of them are not talking to one another, but they're both talking to the server.
But then and then that's like, because I guess there's so many smart TVs now.
Yeah, there are a bunch of them. But and even if you don't have a smart TV, there are a bunch of dongles and boxes and shit that can make it smart.
Chromecast and
exactly.
All that.
We launched recently on Amazon Fire Stick.
Oh, okay.
And that's working, like, super well.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because I imagine there's not. I don't know how.
There are not many games on there.
Yeah.
They've brought in a few games.
Or even just apps. There's some, but there's got to be less.
Netflix and
Hulu and all
and
that.
Hulu and so on, and Spotify. But I guess, they don't. Yeah, they don't have a lot of games, because porting to their platform, which is very limited locally, is hard. So I don't know if it's, like, that hard, but I guess that, like, that's a new OS, and then you have to play test it. For us, it's like, yes, come on BlackNet, and then we put your game on Amazon Fire TV via streaming. That's way easier.
Yeah.
So for us, it's like trying to breach that also. It's like there are so many platforms right now. If we can stream to all of them, it makes sense. It also makes sense in a thing that makes sense to us is ecologically. It also makes sense.
Like less waste?
Yeah. NVIDIA put out last year, I think. No, not last year. No, 2016. So, 2 years ago. A study on their graphics card, which was 92% of the carbon footprint of a graphics card is production and movement. Like moving it physically to you.
Yeah.
And then during its whole lifetime, something like 5 or 6% is going to be like electricity use. So if you actually mutualize, like you pull together the resources on a server, then we don't each have an NVIDIA sitting at home that's useless, right? Because that's a huge carbon footprint, but nobody's using it. When I'm at the office, mine at home, I think my idea is that it should be used by someone else because it's so cheap to use with the electricity is not expensive.
The sad thing is that people are using it to mine bitcoins for themselves.
Exactly.
So it's just
a few people. I think most of them are like really sleeping tight, but And so so you also have energy consumption in data centers, so it's more efficient. The cooling and so on, and the reuse of the energy and so on is like really efficient in data centers, way more than in personal computers. So it makes sense ecologically because producing a PS4 it has a huge carbon footprint. Producing it, like getting the resources and then shipping them to China, then shipping it back to the US and shipping it back to France or to wherever. Like that's like all that movement of components is really expensive for a thing that everybody has at home. And nobody, I think, to my knowledge, nobody I know is using his PS3 or Xbox One to mine bitcoins.
No.
It's mostly plastic sitting at your house.
Yeah.
That somebody could be playing on, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Well, thanks for being on the question bus.
My pleasure.
Is there anything else you want to plug?
Not really, no.
You just go to black.nut or
blacknut.com.
.com.
Yeah.
And trials.
Yeah, trials. There's like a week trial. You can play any game. You can try it. It's for now. It's mostly in France, the UK, and Germany.
Okay.
It's going to be in the US by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And the US and Canada, of course.
Yeah. North America.
Yeah, exactly. If the US is not destroyed by then.
Yeah.
Is the
I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not out of the continent if NAFTA goes down. Like, it's not like I had a really funny experience flying here where there was this UK guy who wanted to cut the line of security because we had to go through security after landing in Frankfurt, which I don't understand, but I was like transferring and had to go through security. And so everybody is like rushing.
Yeah.
And this guy with his British accent tried to like, oh, my flight's at 12, like, can I? And it's like, all of our flights are at 12. Back to the line. But he had to be in the not EU line.
Which is probably longer.
Yeah. So, great. Well, good luck with everything. Can you sign up for the mailing list without getting the app?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And that's on blacknut.com.
Yeah, same thing.
Great.
Thanks a lot for the invite.